A wonderful good afternoon. Thank you for joining us once again for Brothers in Cooperation, a program that brings to you development, works of friendship, passion and struggle for the people of Uganda by the Italian, or you could call it the Italian system, where they bring their support, their expertise, knowledge and friendship. My name is Sarah Nsigaye. On this 9th edition, we are going to talk about humanitarian activities with a smile. And with me in the studio, I have Anna Maria D'Angelo. I've been rehearsing. I hope I have pronounced it well.
Yes.
Welcome.
Perfect.
She is the cultural attaché for the Italian embassy. And what's a better way to go towards the end of this session of the program than having someone to do with culture. Also with us in the studio is Philip Luswata.
Luswata.
We hey, don't get people to hit me stones thinking I've become, I think, Italian or American. Philip Luswata. You all might or may know, he will be offended if I say might. You all know Philip Luswata. He is the person who introduced comedy in this country, at least the culture of comedy, the founding director of the Theatre Factory. He also teaches lectures at Chambago University MDD department, and an amazing playwright, as well as a director. Welcome.
Thank you for
having me. Are you Italian?
I'm working on that.
Because we are talking about cooperation, the works, and in partnership with the Italians, but towards development. Since when does theatre lecturing have anything to do with development?
Well, for me, my participation...
And cooperation.
Okay, my participation really is as a playwright. I've been working with Anne-Marie on this project, the Pinocchio text. It's an Italian fable, really, about lying, relentless liars. And it's a book that is, it's a story that is very much, I'm sure for those of us who grew up during our time, we used to have these small ladybird books. And Pinocchio was a very popular novel for me when I was in nursery school. So coming across it as an older person, I get to see it differently from just the puppet that Pinocchio is to, you know, my own life and my existence in a world of relentless liars.
You're trying to sound so old, but I won't go. I won't go into detail. And when you talk about liars, and you're reading the Ugandan newspaper, I don't know if I don't want to refer you to Parliament and other places, but for my safety on this program now, before my producer throws me off, I'll now introduce you to Pietro Avorano. He's not now coming here in the shoes of the personal assistant to the ambassador. He's coming here as the press person for the Uganda Bikers. Who are the Uganda Bikers? And what is an Italian doing being the press person for the Uganda Bikers?
Uganda Bikers is an organization that gets together people of different nationalities, and these people are together because they love riding bikes, first of all. Then they like because of the engine, they like because of the scenery we see when we are moving around, or we love it also because the group creates a certain harmony that you like to belong to. But in short, we are together and in a good mood, with a good faith, and we are also trying to do a bit of charity apart from the other aspects I've been telling you.
Okay,
yeah.
Wonderful to have you here and your team.
Yes, my team, this is, of course, it's a very small number. We expect it to be more than what we are here today. But we have got Kalusi, we have got Martin. Kalusi is a Ugandan, huh?
Hey,
Martin
Kalusi
is a Danish, and
hey,
Franco is the vice chairman of our group. Hey, he's from Italy, and Francesco too.
Hey.
Yes, yes.
As a woman, I am beginning to protest. Sorry to start on a bad note, but where are women? Women are not bikers?
Yeah, we have also some women bikers, often are the wives of the bikers. But then, you know, something happens and they prefer to stay home at times, but as today, as is the case of today. But we have got some 3-4 women bikers, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting. So you were telling me about you doing charity. What has charity got to do with bikers?
Yes, we happen to have the chance to have enough visibility and credibility so that there are companies here in Uganda that are giving us some money, and with this money we try to help, and we have chosen in particular a school in Uganda which is called Mbuya Reach Out. Yes. It is already 9 years we are helping the school. The school cares for children which are HIV positive or affected by the positivity in the sense that they've lost their parents, so they are orphans. And when our donors are generous, we can see even here we are with them now in this this shortage here.
Those are what, the children of Mbuya?
Of Mbuya, yes. And we manage also to give amounts to the tune of 10, 15, at times 20 million per year.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So you are the ones who collect it from from your sponsors?
Exactly.
Through certain activities, or you just go to them?
We go to them and we say we do this, we do that. We try to give them visibility. Today is an opportunity. For example, Salini, this big company that is building in Jinja, the dam has given us 3 million shillings, and then we've got banks, and then we've got clinics. There is a clinic called Case Clinic, is giving us every year 2 million shillings. So we have to thank all the people that are helping us. There is a company of aluminium also is giving us money, and then also we could not say that. Maybe.
No, I'm just laughing because I'm thinking, Pietro,
yes,
what you're doing is wonderful for these people, because you've just given them adverts and they gave you 3 million and the advert is worth 5 million. They had better give you more money.
Next year we shall go back for more. Yes, next year. Yes.
Okay.
And even this company, this oil company, now we have to go to knock the door of Talo. Hopefully they are going to give us something. And then there was Heritage, who gave us also gave us money in the past. Now they left Uganda, but they were so generous. At a given moment they gave us something like 20 million shillings in a year. Yes.
Wow. Interesting.
See, here we are at the school. Yes,
yes.
We are dealing.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting videos. You must pull a lot of interest from spectators.
Yes.
Do they join when you are like during the process of riding?
At times when we are departing, especially for a foreign country, as when we go to Kenya to the concours d'élégance. For example,
is there?
Where is our man here? Yes, when we go to the concours d'élégance, they give us this T-shirt. Or when we go to Rwanda, when we go for long journeys, generally they welcome us when there is the flagging off. Yes, we are together. Yes.
Sounds like a fun thing. Is it only friends who come together? How do you recruit people who come and join you for this? Because it seems to also have a noble agenda.
Yes, as I said before, you must have
a bike?
A love for the bike. No, they are not showing.
Okay, but
first of all, you must love the bike, and then we can put together the other aspects. Yes.
So if someone doesn't have a bike, if they love
if
it,
he doesn't have a bike, he's not a
join?
biker. He's not a biker, but he can be a supporter in that case. But you are a biker if you've got a bike, of course.
Okay,
yes.
I see. So you have to get a bike, and I hope you've seen the kind of bikes that they have. Then you can think of becoming a Uganda biker. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily Ugandan, because as we clearly see, it's not that they're Ugandan, but what they do goes towards Uganda, like supporting the school of Mbuya and giving visibility. When you go to Kenya, for instance, or to Rwanda, they then see you as Ugandan bikers.
Oh yes, and in particular when we went to South Africa in 2004, Uganda gave us the title of Ambassadors of Hope, because we were also trying to promote a campaign against HIV, and we have got this.
If you could zoom into
we were given these T-shirts. Yes, Ambassador of Hope.
Breathe now.
We just you can show it now better here. The lower yes, Ambassador of Hope. It was the Minister of Health of Uganda who gave us this title, and all the countries we visited, we depicted, we advertised the approach of Uganda in this battle of AIDS. And you remember, I mean, it's still common, this ABC, abstain, be faithful, C, condom, and then we buy. Yes.
Yeah, I said cotton.
Yeah, but it's not
okay,
it's not a dirty word.
Yeah.
And then we bikers, we added the letter D. So A, B, C, otherwise D.
And
death,
D is what?
Death will
Oh,
occur
otherwise
to you.
D.
Yes.
I
yes.
see. I hope you also had that, not just about the
So
bikers
even here,
and
this
babies.
picture here in particular, you saw, we were in Rwanda, and when we get people gathering around us at petrol stations, in whatever points we stop, we talk about the fight of HIV. Yes.
Wow, then you're really good ambassadors, eh?
Yep, so
Well, I'll come back to you. I would like now to go to Anna Maria Danger.
Yes.
I have to put emphasis because I can sometimes be terrible with names. So, how does your office also work with people like the bikers?
No, we are not in the same. They have their charity, so it is completely different. Yes.
Okay.
We do also organize charity events, I mean fundraising events, but not in the same line.
Okay. So today I'm particularly interested in Pinocchio.
Okay, Pinocchio. The idea partly came because while I was working in Tanzania, we had the book printed and translated in Swahili, and I could see that many children appreciated this book. It was something new for them. And so I started thinking what I could do here, in the form, of course, a charity fundraising event. And so the first moment I decided just to go for the printing in English, with some maybe Italian words here and there, just to raise the curiosity of the children, and to distribute the books in the orphanages. And then I developed the idea of performing, and there where Philip came in to write just a script for a theatrical performance. Now actually the book is ready.
Wow.
Yes.
How long ago did you come up with the idea?
Well, you know, this was because the layout, the illustrations and all this, so it took a certain time. And I was lucky because I found a sponsor, General Supply, which they will print the book, 500 copies for the embassy.
Interesting. Who is this generous person? Oh, company, organization. They will come out when we will present the play, and see they will participate. And because I mean Pinocchio, it's of course a tale. Is by the way, is a tale who has nowadays 120 years, because it has been written in 1881. And it's still relevant?
It is.
Yes, because when you think about the real meaning of this book, you see that our society basically they didn't change so much. Values are the same, similar. The education, the need of a work who provide food for you, shelter, basic needs that everyday life. Pinocchio, in fact, the author, by the way, was Carlo Collodi. Was a journalist, Carlo Collodi. And the first edition of Pinocchio wasn't on the form of a book, but a serial published in the newspaper. And wasn't really a tale for children literature. It was more addressed to adults. And but it had a lot of success. So later on, they decided to publish a book. And Collodi added at this first edition 16 more chapters to make the book more adaptable to children. So, what can I say? This book has a very profound meaning because beside the events, the fairy tales, it has a lot of values who have been shown in different chapters, and yeah, I would say this book. And in a different way, because fairy tales usually they are, just everything is beautiful, everything is. But this book shows that life can be very hard, and the necessity of education, and basically also why Pinocchio became a symbol of lies, because every time Pinocchio was lying, his nose was growing. So the funny thing was that at a certain point people started to qualify politicians who were lying, promising things who would never achieve. They were called Pinocchios. And nowadays people still using Pinocchio to qualify someone who is lying.
Sure, I was thinking of when I said for my safety, but when we talked about Pinocchio, I was thinking of and reading all the things that are happening in the press. I was also thinking about politicians in parliament. I'd like to look at Philip Luswata, who has translated this book into Luganda, and when I was asking if it was relevant, he said yes, it is very relevant. What connection did you find?
Well, for one, I've not translated it into Luganda. No, adapting it for theatre.
You adapted it for theatre.
Yes, because
it's still in English.
It's still in English, but in our local kind of local English. One thing that I saw the biggest relevance about this book is one, as she says, growing up is an experience, and we go through so many things. Why I find it very relevant for even children, though she says it was first written for adults. Growing up is a very big experience, and Pinocchio goes through so many things that I feel I've also gone through, and they have made me who I am, because everything he goes through, he learns from it, but goes straight back to what he did. And when you look around, as you said, with our politicians, what's happening in parliament, the kind of excitements we go through, the promises we get that are never kept, the roads that are halfway, the top is not there, the top layer is not there. So
and the optimism of our people and hope.
Yeah, that things are going to be good, because there is so much hope. Everyone who relates with Pinocchio, even the guy, his creator, Geppetto, loves him. Despite all he does, he says, he'll improve, there's hope. So the kind of Ugandan optimism we have, that things are going to improve, things will get better, that kind of thing. And I just pray that, just like is the case for Pinocchio, maybe there should be something physical that happens to someone who lies. So maybe he gets a bump on the head, so I don't know, that guy lied.
Like a long nose.
Yeah, maybe we need to create that bump. Maybe it might not be as physical. So when are we getting this play?
I would like to add this, that actually the Italian Corporation included this event in the program that they will bring into Karamoja, and this will be for April, I think, and this project will be a week long, so they will go from one village to another village, and then they will perform the play in each village where they will stop, and at the same time they will distribute the books, because they order 1,500 more books for this specific project in Karamoja. So I think this will bring a lot of smiles in children's eyes.
Interesting. So, well, it's going to be in English so they can relate to the Karamojans.
Of course, I think
we'll try to adapt. You know, it's a very physical play. It's more physical than, it's driven more by what happens than by what is said. So the way you just get it, you can't help but, you know, follow it.
Well, that's the strength. So in Kampala, when do we see it? Because now it's finished, the preparations are done, the book or the play is out. At what stage are you rehearsing?
Now depends on him, because he has to rehearse.
Thanks to you, it comes later. We have
No, we are hoping end of
March.
March, more or less, to perform. We think, yes.
Okay,
yes.
that's great.
And then after the opening evening, evening will be an afternoon, because the children. And then Philip and the players, so they will go on different schools also to perform. Yeah, we have to select some schools who have the infrastructure to host this kind of. So yes. So I think it will have some success. I'm hoping.
We look forward to that.
Yeah, because you know we don't. When we think about okay, we are helping orphanage, we are helping charities through this kind of fundraising event, but they are. I didn't see so many dedicated to children.
That's
which
true.
is the case for this
I
one.
wouldn't say true, but in terms of creators, and that's a question I want to throw at Philip. You've just created something. I'm not accusing you, but I seem to see that as creative people, theater people, musicians, we do not make content for the children. That we want children, like, that is meant to be utilized or used by the children, either their parents or talking about issues that affect them, but from our perspective. What is the plan in as far as children content is concerned?
I think one first thing is I think I accept that accusation. We are very guilty.
I'm not accusing.
No, I
because I
accept
would be equally guilty, but
okay.
it's a
the
fact.
blame,
Yeah?
I take the blame. I say we are guilty. Nobody is thinking about children. Even if most of us think, sorry to say, that I need to earn a living. And so we look at the bigger market of adults who can go into their pocket and pay.
But
then you forget that
a bigger market?
it's even bigger. It's even a huge market. It's far bigger, and that's one thing that I would like to challenge ourselves. People are usually afraid of performing for children because children are very critical. With children, if you are doing something that doesn't work, they're going to look the other way and let you do what you're doing. So most of us are afraid of exposing ourselves to this kind of challenge. You see, hey, I've seen someone cry on stage while performing at a primary school because the kids were running around, and then you have to be loud, and now you're being paid to be there, so you have to be there. You have to say the words they told you to say. So most of us run away from it, but I would like to encourage everyone else who is with me, instead of us crowding, doing the same thing, probably it's time to go the Pinocchio way. For me, the challenge is, after Pinocchio, I want to do children, really.
I want to see you do children, Philip, because you're also not just any ordinary creator. You also happen to be teaching. And I think the problem starts from institutions. How do you teach these people who are, for instance, music, dance, and drama, and they cannot come up with content for children? Who are they talking to? Especially if literature, arts, culture is to do with not just entertainment, but beyond that.
I think the big challenge also is thinking for children. I think, as I've said, it's a very big challenge. But from our institutions, most of us, we spend so much time on history, the history of the art, the history of the craft, the theories related. So you create people who, when you go out at the end of the day, they are also very challenged. You live, you've got your diploma, you've got your degree, but you've actually not been practically exposed to these situations. So probably, maybe also that goes to the colleges.
Maybe that goes to you to start presenting it as a problem, so that it's interrogated at that level.
Challenge.
I want to see more content for children, and I also would look forward to to the opportunity to see creators dealing with our issues instead of Pinocchio was addressing the crisis of their problems. Now we have crisis, we have corruption, we have bad roads, and it's not, we don't see it in our literature, we don't see it in our theater, we don't see it on TV shows, I don't see it in Theatre Factory, I don't see it anywhere. And I am wondering, no wonder we are taken for granted. Do we exist? Are we reflecting the sentiments of our society? And yeah.
Personally, I would like to be thankful to Anna Marie, really, for you know, ruffling our feathers.
It's a beginning.
This is a beginning. Otherwise, I would have just said, children is too difficult.
Yeah.
But now, you know, with this kind of challenge, you say, okay, let's try.
Yeah.
And once you start, they've pushed you, you say, okay, now I just have to keep rolling. So.
Okay.
I think this is an allegoric book, so you.
Well, I just want to say that Philip Luswata is one of the theatre, not only actors, but creators that I really admire. So I'm optimistic that as he is committed to children's content, we'll see more of that. But I also like to see more from not just Philip, but any other person in the creative industry coming out with issues that affect us with an interest to take us forward. That's when we'll be relevant. I think I've talked enough about about the plays and everything. I'd like now to come back to the bikers. Well, did I bore you?
No.
Were you interested in what we were saying?
Yes, of course.
What interested you?
But I think that the approach of giving to, approaching children with the stories, with something interesting, something that could move their heart and also give them a certain divertissement, certain happiness. It's a good solution.
How are the bikers taking in children?
Yeah, I mean, what you saw us doing there when we were, you know, playing with the band and whatever, that is the same approach, trying to make them near to us, making them to feel the kind of values, the kind of love, the kind of happiness. We are trying to transmit to them the happiness that we have in being bikers. And in those scenery that we saw before when we were moving with the band, and then there were traditional players there with the various instruments. We enjoyed, and they enjoy, and 1 or 2 times a year we meet these children in the school, and they're happy to see us.
It's wonderful to have you, but I would like to get at least pick a bit from their experience, what they find interesting, and what are the lessons for my audience and for the bikers we have here in the studios. What is it like being in the Uganda Bikers, being a member of the Uganda Biker? What is it that you like most? And I think I'll go like that.
Uganda Bikers is a family, as you can see. I've learned how to ride in a perfect organized way, riding with a helmet with protective kits, and giving back to kids. You know, we solicit money and we go to companies, we give them money, we give back to the society.
Okay, well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, just riding bikes is absolutely fantastic.
Okay,
we have good fun about that.
Yeah, riding bikes, as he says, is a nice, it's a nice thing to do, but the most important thing is what we are doing is helping these children, make us more on this riding.
Very key, just like my colleagues added.
Let me introduce first is our president of Uganda Bikers.
Hello, President.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. Welcome.
Thank you. Like I was saying, basically about riding.
Where are you from, Uganda?
Yeah, I'm Ugandan.
Ugandan Rwandese or something?
No, Ugandan from Gulu, actually.
From Gulu?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, Kope. Now, one thing... yeah, now what I was trying to say about the riding, you find that the biggest bit of it is most of us, you know how to ride before you meet a group. When you find a group and they have a common cause and it's about community, it gives you more, it makes it more interesting when you wake up early morning and you have to take a weekend ride and it's for a cause. Now, biggest for the Uganda Bikers are the children. When you kept talking about children and you said you've not seen many groups concerned about children, I whispered to my colleague Franco, that Uganda Bikers is concerned about children.
Good,
So that's something very key for us, is that any cause that we ride for, there must be a link. The children are very important. And I think that's the fun about being in the UBA, Uganda Bikers Association.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
that's good.
So that's it. When no, the funny thing is when we stop it, even for just loading the petrol, or we are just stopping just because there is a nice view. In 5 minutes there are 100 children, maybe more, who are there asking, they're looking at the bike, they want to know everything, and that's it.
Yeah, I did see some beautiful shots. Those are some of the shots that we are seeing, and children. I would like to go back and fall back on the saying that our ancestors have, the Baganda particularly, my mother is a Muganda, emitemito jejigumize echibira, and I think those budding trees are the ones that will thicken the forest. So I like the spirit, and time is not our best ally. We are going for a break, but before we go for a break, as the press person for the Bikers Association, I'd like to get a parting word from you.
Really? You would like to join?
I'm happy to join, but am I going to be sponsored with a bike?
We can lend you a bike.
That is a good place to start.
Of course, you must have a driving permit.
Yeah,
Yes.
even a helmet I have.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I think I should consider myself a member by association and a member in spirit. So soon I'm a full member.
Yeah, an honorary member for the time being. Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's good. Okay. Yeah. We have a surprise guest, and I'm not going to say who. Don't go away. If you do, if you're told by whoever you were seated with about that surprise guest, you'll never forgive yourself. I promise. Anna Maria D'Angelo, thank you very much for coming. I really look forward to the play. I look forward to see more culture activities from the Italian Corporation and Embassy. And
For sure.
Yeah, Philip, I look forward to the play. Good luck with Karamoja. I'm from there. I'm happy that the play is going to be physical. Karamoja does need Pinocchio. So I'm happy that is one of the areas that you've considered. Godspeed when you go. Continue tuning into WBS TV, but also continue tuning into the Brothers in Corporation. And thanks to the Italian Corporation and Brothers in Corporation for the support they give to children, to culture, because culture does have actually very little support. So thank you for that, and thank you for that. We've had all these guests.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, welcome back from the break. Again, I am Sarah Nsigaye, and before the break, I told you I have a surprise guest. I can proudly say that WBS Television and Brothers in Corporation is the first TV station to interview the ambassador of Italy, the new ambassador of Italy, His Excellency Stefano Dejak. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Uganda.
Thank you.
And welcome to WBS TV.
Thank you.
And through you, I would like to thank the Italian Corporation and the Italian government for giving the support. We've had numerous programs and we've been seeing the commendable work they're doing. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I was actually enjoying looking at the broadcast before with these guys that I know from working at the embassy. So it's a lot of fun to see them outside the embassy work, although some of them, like Franco, who was here, we went recently for almost 1 week to the north, to the Acholi region. So I saw in that every time there was a kid, he was bringing every kid together, and you can see he's very keen on working and helping the kids. So
that's wonderful. Have you been to? You've just come, so I wanted to ask your impression of Uganda, but I'm also curious to ask if you've been to Karamoja yet.
No, Karamoja is January February will be West Nile. So I'm trying to have a program of little by little going everywhere in Uganda, and it's a great pleasure. I like to drive around and go places, meet people, so it's a great pleasure.
That would be great. The reason I'm talking about Karamoja and the northern region, I've been to West Nile, yes, and there's a lot of presence of the Italian cooperation and Italian support, but it is incredible how much work the Italians have done in Karamoja. It's amazing.
Well, I can tell you that not having been in Karamoja, I have seen the Acholi region, and I myself was surprised in the first place, and to see the kind of relationship that there is between the people there and the Acholi, especially because of the difficult times that they had for so long. Italians have been there throughout. They started being there at the very beginning of the 1900s of the last century. In fact, I visited a hospital that was created in 1915.
1915?
So, which is almost 100 years from now.
I know.
And it is amazing to see how many things that are not well known even in Italy, of course.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to ask. What is it about the Italians? Because you do a lot of work, yeah, in certain areas, and the visibility, which I would like to also appreciate in a way, because it says something. It also says, demonstrates a commitment towards just doing good work for the sake of it. But I mean, there is no credit given, and because I have seen, and I don't want to name countries who spend 20,000 on a project, say 20,000 US dollars, and they spend 40,000 US dollars publicizing a project of $20,000.
Well, there is, I think, a fundamental difference. That is, it's the history of our country and of our people that gives this peculiarity. That is, Italians were immigrants before the Africans were.
Is that so?
The presence in the whole wide world of Italians have been because of the poverty of especially certain areas of Italy, especially the south, but not only. I mean, Pietraverono that you just met comes from the northeast, which is now a very industrialized area of Italy. And nevertheless, in the 19th century, their people were emigrating nearby to France and other places, but also to Africa, to South America, because Italy wasn't such a rich country in after the unification of Italy. This year is the 150th anniversary of the unification of Italy, and in a way it is similar to next year for Uganda, which will be the 50th year of independence. We have only 100 years more of history, but fundamentally there's a lot of similarity. Italians were forced to emigrate to very distant countries because of the poverty, and they were not conquerors. They were poor people who had only their hands and their brain to support themselves, their families, but they did good things everywhere they went in the world, including in Africa. And they didn't go there for conquering place or for exploiting anyone. And this you can see very clearly wherever you see something Italians have been doing.
Well, that says a whole lot. Huh?
When I was in Gulu, there was a ceremony with many different authorities, including from Kampala. And the mayor of Gulu said something that I think could be the heading for everything Italians have done everywhere in the world. He said, Italians don't patronize us, they partner with us. And actually, in this country, you have, you know, in the Rwenzori mountain, the first a person who went up was Luigi di Savoia, who was well known as the Duke of the Abruzzi, was a member of the royal family. And I always mention it as an example of how Italians went to Africa, because after this thing, he went to Somalia and he built an agricultural village, which was incredible. I've seen the pictures in Florence. The houses he built for the Somali workers were something that I think for the times were certainly for them like palaces. And he worked with the people there. He died of malaria like anyone else there, and he
died in Somalia.
He died in Somalia, and he's buried in Somalia. And I went to see his grave, because before coming to Uganda I was ambassador for Somalia. I'm ambassador of Italy for Somalia.
Is that so?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm finding myself at crossroads, because I'm interested in knowing about this history, but at the same time I can't resist finding out about Somalia. What is it like being in Somalia now?
Well, it's a fascinating country, absolutely fascinating. I think the people are fascinating. But of course, there's a lot of strife. You cannot really compare with the experiences that Uganda had, I believe. And the tribal structure of the Somali is very, very complex. In a way, it resembles the Italians, because Italians are not divided in tribes. We say that we are divided in bell towers. That is, that every city has its bell tower and has its identity, its very strong identity. So Somalis in a way are very similar. They are divided in a very, very complex tribal structure by very small, they call it clans. There are in fact small families that they all go back to their ancestors centuries and centuries and centuries, up until the first the first Somali, who was called Somali in reality, and who is the basically the Adam of the Somali people.
So when you trace it back, they're actually all one people?
Yes.
In a way?
Yeah, absolutely. They all know, and since they are pastoral nomads, mainly, not all of them, but the core culture and economy is based on pastoral nomadic life. They tend to trace their history as a matter of personal family history. So you can tell a Somali because he will be able to tell you his ancestors back 20, 30, 40 generations, because this is his own identity. It's a fascinating culture.
Interesting. I've mingled with them. I didn't realize they go that deep. So I thought that the difference was between the Somali Bantu and the Somali who have Arabic leanings.
No. The Somalis, as such, they believe that their origins trace back to the Arabic Peninsula. But in reality, because they are pastoral nomads, they didn't cherish too much their coasts. So on the coast, all the main cities that you know have been founded by foreigners. So the main, the key Somali clans are 4, and then you have what they call the 0.5, that is all of the rest, including Bantus, but including also Arabs, Persians, people from many different areas. Mogadishu, the capital, the Somalis don't call it Mogadishu, they call it Hamar. And the people who founded Mogadishu, they're called the Rer Hamar, and they're of Arab origin. And so they belong to the 0.5, not to the main 4 clans. And the same is true for Kismayo, which was founded by the Bajuni, who is a Swahili-speaking population. Kismayu in Swahili means the place with a well. Or Brava and Merka, the same as Mogadishu. So it's not the distinction between Bantus and non-Bantus. It's in this 5th group, there's people from everywhere because of the monsoons and everything. In Kenya, you can even find the ancestors of Chinese who came there in the 16th century.
I'm sorry, because this history of the Somalis is really interesting, and yet I want to take you to other things. But before I go, I would like to ask if this knowledge, which you have, it's a wealth of knowledge about Somali. Do you read it somewhere? Is there existing literature, or it's through interaction with the Somalis?
Well, both. I think it's also a matter of passion. I tend to be very curious. That's why I started this job. So I was very curious to learn about Somalia. There are things that you can read, but most things you learn from people. And that is how I mean my being a diplomat. And I've done so everywhere I've been, and I think I'm very eager to do this also in Uganda.
Everywhere you've been, meaning how many countries have you been to?
Well, as countries, I've been only to 3 previous countries. I was in Nigeria, I was in the United Kingdom.
That is a place, huh?
Yeah, in Lagos especially.
Yeah.
Lagos is a very vibrant place, and I think everybody knows about Nigerians because of Nollywood.
Nollywood, and
So
also their business approach,
And then London, and then Nairobi. I was there for over 6 years.
So you've been in Nairobi for 6 years. In Somali for how long?
Well, I was following Somalia from Nairobi because the security in Somalia is not exactly perfect.
Yeah, because I wanted to establish how it is like for a diplomat in Somalia.
Well, I was always very happy, but of course, one of the features of being a diplomat is that you're not representing only yourself. You are representing your country. So you're not free to do whatever you want. You're always working in a team, and you have, of course, your capital telling you how far you can go, what you should do and you should not do. And I'm very aware that in a way, when I am in an official capacity, I'm like a flag representing my country. So you don't, every army knows that you don't bring your flag in a dangerous zone. So however much I would have liked to go everywhere, stay long, and I was indeed extremely happy every time I was I could afford to be in Somalia. I had to restrain my enthusiasm because of my official capacity.
Well, 6 years in Nairobi, Somalia, And you've just come, but your time is usually like 4 years?
Yes.
That is about 10 years. That makes you truly East African, because for those of you who are watching, I would like you to know that he's also the ambassador for Rwanda and Burundi. Having been in Kenya and Somalia, well, save for Sudan, that sort of like sums up East Africa, because Sudan is thinking of
and also I was
East African.
in Rome. I was the head of the Greater Horn of Africa department before coming here.
Wow.
So I had almost 4 years in Rome as the head of the Eastern Africa, if you like, department, which included also Uganda, where I started to learn about the region before coming.
Can I ask you about the East African region?
What?
the talk. Yeah, I also appreciate the fact that the nature of your office also demands that your opinions might represent not you the person, but the people. So I will understand. I'm sure my audience too will understand if you're not up to answering some of those questions. But what do you think of the East African? Because there's debate now, ongoing debate, that they want to political integration. And the East African, initially, the community failed. And as people said, they said that we had a conference and someone was saying you can't shave a man's head in his absence. And this East African was something that was done at the top, but people were not engaged. Although as borders, as relatives at the borders do relate. Do you see us having political integration?
Well, political integration is inevitable. It's only a matter of time. Okay. There is a famous poem by a 16th century English poet called John Donne, who says that every man is an island in itself, but at the end of the day it's all a continent and a world that is united inevitably. We have found and understood that lesson in Europe through hundreds, if not thousands of years of ravages, war, destruction, and we had unfortunately to learn that lesson through two wars that were the most appalling and destructive war I think humanity have ever experienced, and I hope nobody will experience anything like that anymore in ever. So, you know, in Europe there are very deep resentments, hates. The history of the conflict between France and Germany goes back to the 9th century when Charlemagne cut the heads of all the Germans' neighbors, and this is 1,200 years before they discovered that they must accept that they are brothers, and that was actually the key to European unity, was this landmass at the center, at the heart of the continent, France and Germany, deciding that they have no opportunity, no future, but together. And I think this is a lesson that is true for Europe, and it's true for Africa? Eastern Africa.
Well, it's interesting because amazing. We don't read our history. We mainly read European history, but not history where we want to borrow lessons. And in this case, how do we integrate? How do we identify ourselves as brothers and sisters? The amount of knowledge you have tempts me to divert from the questions. And yet, as ambassador to Uganda, I'm curious to hear what your plans are for the next 4 years when you're in Uganda. First, what do you think of Uganda?
Well, it was beautiful the way I entered Uganda, because I didn't fly into Uganda, so I didn't come through Entebbe. I did that a few months before, because funnily enough I was here in June for a very important meeting that your president chaired about Somalia at the beginning of June. But when I had to come here, I came with my wife and my 4 dogs by road from Nairobi.
Yeah.
So it was a big impression because we came from, it was about 10 hours drive because we had, of course, to stop for the dogs to drink water and
I'm really
everything.
sorry to laugh. I also have dogs, but I'm sure my audience is like, there were 4 dogs in a car and they had to take water.
No, 2 cars. We were in 2 cars,
Yeah.
and when we enter Uganda from the border, there was a big impression. First, it gave me an impression that maybe this would impress your viewers, that Uganda is more ordered than Kenya.
I'm happy to hear that. I know that.
Second, the environment made me feel more like being in Africa, because the environment in Kenya was very, very varied, very strange, and sometimes also coming here, it felt like being in the north of Italy on the mountains. When I entered through Malaba, Uganda, it was a real African environment that I was seeing. And
in a sense of being communal or infrastructure?
No, in a sense of nature, vegetation. More lush vegetation. It's a vegetation that I'm more acquainted with. So
yeah,
it was a big change and a happy one, and that is also why I will continue the way I started, by driving everywhere, by trying to meet everyone, understand the people place by place, not staying in Kampala only.
Okay, time is not our best ally, but I just want to get a sense of what your plans are for the next 4 years. At least I know they are huge, but summarize them briefly.
Well, my program of work is based on 2 things at the moment, much more than politics, because politics, you have to understand the people, and you have to understand the intricacies before you talk about it. It's a very, very complex game. The main thing is investment, because I think Uganda needs development. It doesn't need assistance as such. It needs development. It's at the right stage to develop. And the second is education, because the very engine of development is education. There is no doubt about it.
Well, those are the 2 areas that the Italian corporation and the Italian government actually seem to have really, really put footing, health and education. And as a culture person, I really want to hear something about culture, because the Italian embassy is one of the, at least the institutions and governments who are supporting culture initially. And that's an area that's lacking. And I know that that's where they cut budget, even in Italy. What's your plan?
Well, first I want to pay my respect to the Makerere University, because that's a very important area to start and to bring forward our relationship. But also, as you've heard before from Angelo, we are doing a lot of things also with primary, secondary schools. So it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of pleasure to exchange, because this is not about teaching anything. This is about understanding each other, to have the pleasure to bring your culture to the knowledge of other people, at the same time as you have the pleasure to understand the culture of other people. This is what I mean by partnering and not patronizing.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Our guest has been His Excellency Stefano Dejak, the Italian ambassador to Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi, and it has been wonderful to have you here. It is humbling, because when I'm here as a person who's been hosting 9 programs where we've been looking at Italian support, cooperation, commitment, people's passion towards helping Ugandans go ahead, I'm kind of humbled, and I would again reiterate my earlier
We are all
position of
grateful to
thanking
you.
To who? To Uganda.
We are grateful to you for hosting all
I'm
this.
humbled. Thank you very much.
Thank
and
you,
it's
pleasure.
wonderful to have you, and have a safe trip or journey back. And yeah, have a lovely weekend, as I would also want to wish my audience a lovely weekend.